Welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? This is a segment of the channel where you get to ask me questions, and I usually take, the most frequently asked and kind of do a show on it. You can always email me, drmumbi at drmumbishow.com. I've gotten so many requests to do relationship videos, but the whole relationship subject, beloveds, is like an entire channel. Because first you have to figure out, are you a fireman or a firewoman? Are you from the water kingdom? Are you an avatar, which means you've conquered and mastered all four kingdoms? Because there are quite a few avatars walking around us right now. So it's a whole channel. It's a whole series. And then, it's something very mystic. I got a really amazing and lovely email from one of our sisters. I think she's in South Africa. Her name sounded very South African. And she had asked me, like many people, her name is Panina. Shout out, Panina. And thanks for all the shout outs. Shout out to your family, hugs, man. So Panina was saying, first of all, I found this so beautiful. She said, in their Guni culture, the ancestors chose a specific person for you. And then how you would know would be through dreams and visions. So there's a lot in terms of the African perspective of relationships, beloveds. And the situation many of us found our grandparents in, this whole polygamous, where it was one husband and like 3-4 wives, that was not the way, partnerships worked before. It was a business system. I'm not even going to get into that polygamy, whatever, polyandry, which was the system before. But, the highest level masters always come in a partnerships, so that you can have the representation on earth of the male and the female frequency and energy. So maybe you let me know, give me some comments about what you'd like to hear of. Maybe I could get into it. But the reason I'm actually doing the show today is because the most urgent question I keep getting is from people who say they are awakening and their partner isn't, or they've awakened, they want to relocate to Africa, or they want to relocate out of the city, they want to start growing their own food, but their partner is totally, on the wrong page. There's even a lady who had written to, I wouldn't even say her name, and she was talking about how she had moved with her African husband to the divided states for the American dream, and now she wanted to go back. The husband was like, are you mad? Like, we're living the life, I go back to the village. But her spirit is really like making her feel so anxious. But the thing is, there's children involved, and he would never, he's not awakened, so he would never allow her to go with the children back home. So there's people who are finding themselves in very, very painful situations. And for me, I'll give you my 2 cents. It might sound a bit harsh, but always you have to really seek your own spiritual team and the spirit on your own personal issue and work through it mentally. You're brilliant enough. And a lot of people are saying, help, I'm awakened, but my partner doesn't look like they ever will be. And then it gets tricky, beloveds, when one partner decides to get the V shot and the other one doesn't, because the things they put in that can be transmitted sexually. Let me just leave that one alone. So I know a lot of people are in very painful situations, and I really empathize with you. And the main reason people are finding themselves in this situation is if you got married before you started your awakening, then, you attract who you are. Not who you want, not who you think you'll be, but you attract who you are at the vibration you're at that time. And so that's why until you get to a certain level of mastery, you will always be meeting lessons instead of partners. And a lot of people have married their lessons because they had an awakened, they didn't even know about the awakening journey, whatever the dynamics are, when they were in a lesser evolved state. And it's really, really painful, but that's why, beloveds, first of all, just to my singles out there, you remember that you marry who you are. And so, and you connect with the people on the vibration you're on. So you can't be with a high vibing being if you haven't done the necessary work on yourself and, graduated from the level. And when you will know that you've done the necessary work and you're really getting into those higher realms when your soulmate, the twin flame vibes, when your partner arrives and manifests in your life. And if you've been blessed enough to evolve at the same pace as your partner, then, just give thanks and praise to the Most High, because it's very, very rare for two humans to grow at the same pace at the same time. And that's why we've been seeing an explosion of divorces, separations, ending of relationships, etc., etc. And so, I think the first thing is, if you find yourself in this situation, you have to go back to, when did you meet your current partner who you feel is not awakening, etc., etc. And where were you at that point in your life? Had you even started your awakening journey? Were you still in some kind of Babylon system, etc., etc.? That's how you kind of have to figure out, like, where were you? What state were you in? Because that's who you met. Because you meet your mirror, beloveds. And so once you can get into that, then you can start to see, the kind of why this relationship happened. And I think the biggest healing in any relationship is to overstand, understand, and understand how you got yourself into it, logically, why, without emotion, why you got yourself into it, and, to take responsibility for the part that you played, and to know that you have to take action. So what do you do? Because, we're in the season where it's really about making decisions. Like, these are life and death decisions, beloveds. What can you do if you married the wrong person, a low vibing being, and now you're ready to be a god, and this person's just like, let's go get the, whatever. I'm not going to say it, just, and you're awakening, it comes down to this, beloveds. You have to now choose between your awakening and your relationship. Now, there are things that we can do, especially women can do, especially if you're sharing a bed, because you've already become one. So if you're sharing an environment, a house, and you're even sharing a bed, there are ways that you can, send positive vibes to your partner. To kind of awaken them. You can send and just, try and trigger their own awakening, and it's different. It's hard because, beloveds, you've become a different person. You're not the person that he married or she married. And now you have to look at your partner and think, will he ever wake up? And can I wait for him to wake up? Not even can I wait. Will the ancestors allow me to wait? Because some of these decisions are out of our hands right now, beloveds. Let me take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi. Seraki, how you doing? How's everything going? We're talking about, what do you do? If you're awakened, you're awakening, but your partner is totally asleep, especially with the life and death decisions that have come, that have now come to the forefront. I mean, these are seriously perilous times, beloveds, to be married or in communion or in connection with the wrong person. Like, don't take for granted the whole thing of two becoming one. And two, don't become one at the stage of where you sign a paper. Two, become one when, you have sex, make love, however you want to call it. That's when the merging happens. That's when the marriage happens. So people have been married over and over again to multiple. Anyway, let me not get into that. And, majority of people who have been sending me this actually married the wrong person before. They married someone when they were still low vibing, and then, their ancestors triggered their awakening, and now they find themselves in quite a quagmire. And, it's really tricky because you'll see that you're awakening, or your and your partner is not willing to awaken. You send them awakening stuff, they're not really willing to even engage in that or plan. And that's where a lot of the people who have been contacting me is because their awakening journey has reached the point where they need to move. They know they need to leave Babylon, they know they need to get their children out, but they're not on the same page. And beloveds, as I was saying before the break, of course, when two become one, because your energies, you have both agreed that your souls will operate as one unit. You can influence them just as they can influence you, especially if you're still sharing such an intimate space as a bed, for like sleeping for like 8-10 hours. Just like their unawakening vibes can really slow you down, make you lethargic, make you lazy, make you even doubt and question yourself. On the other hand, you can also use that time when you're in that bed to send them awakening vibes and kind of see, what happens when you do that. And because you are one, you could kind of trigger your partner's awakening by sending them that energy, especially when they're asleep. But you need to figure out, as I told you, take a step back, go back to the time when you met them. Who were you then? What was your state of mind like? What was your state of heart like? And then ask yourself the most difficult question: will they make it? Because you see, beloveds, the awakening is not for the faint-hearted. And we're here to save our bloodline. So it's not about the different, experiencing the different narratives. Many of us have been here several times. So this isn't our first romance, lifetime romance. So the most important thing right now is your awakening. And if you have married the wrong person, if you don't work on them or help them to, trigger their awakening, then it will come down to your awakening versus your relationship. And your awakening right now is being handled by your spiritual team and your ancestors. You gave them your power to do that, to awaken you by any means necessary at such a time as this. And so they are going to awaken you by any means necessary. And I've talked about the transition phase where, it reaches a point where all the relationships that are no longer a vibrational match for you fall off. Because it's like you guys were tuned into this radio station. And then, how you can get, in Africa, we get these expanders, which kind of expand our radio frequencies. I don't know if they do it anywhere else, but it's like you got an expander and your your consciousness expanded. So you didn't want to listen to the country music, radio channel anymore, when you had all these other channels that you could explore. And so as you explored them, it changed your consciousness. It changed your consciousness as you looked into who you were, as you discovered the truths about the Bible, and went, from left strength to strength. It changed your consciousness. And so if you're already asking, like, what do I do? My partner is not awakened. It shows that literally you're like on the 7th floor and he's on the 2nd floor. Spiritually, that's how it is. And, the question of should you leave them, should you stay, that's a very personal decision that you have to make on your own. No YouTuber or anything can answer that for you. But, just know that if you have started your awakening journey and you've connected, sorry guys, I even had to write notes for y'all, and you've connected to your ancestors, they will, if that person doesn't rise, whether it's your husband, whether it's your most loved one, if your wife, the one the mother of your children, all that stuff, if they have not done the necessary work, I hate to break it to you, but eventually the ancestors and the spirit realm will break you up, because your consciousness will only reach a certain level, especially if you keep going down, back down into his lower vibe. And, a lot of people, beloveds, if you're awakening and your partner is in awakening, or if you're awakening and you're single, really try and be celibate in this season. Especially with the V-shot going everywhere and people taking it, some are even taking it secretly. Like, really, beloveds, just be really careful, because that nanotechnology, you can choose that you're not going to get that, that nanotechnology is going to cap people's consciousness, and then you don't want that in your system. And you can get that in your system from your sexual partner. So these are perilous times, beloveds. And I mean, if you're really serious about your awakening journey, you can't be sleeping in the same bed as a less conscious being. If you're awake, you know what I'm talking about. I did a show on that once and people were so lost. Stop telling husbands and wives not to sleep in the same place. It's just like, wow. Some people just ain't ready, but those are the levels. Because whenever you're resting your vessel, it's a recalibration. Like, and then there's even ways you're supposed to be sleeping, beloveds. Because a bed isn't the right thing for you to be sleeping on. It's actually designed to mash up and make your spinal cord weak. I'm telling you, everything Babylon invented was to mash us up. There's nothing they invented to help anybody. So when it comes down to your relationship, beloveds, you need the utmost spiritual discernment. And know that if you don't help your partner awaken and he refuses, then, you will be separated by the spiritual team that you gave power, overriding power over you at such a time as this. That's why some of us have awakened whether we wanted to or not. It's because we set certain alarms and we gave our will over to our spiritual team. I don't want to get into another story because, this is all about relationships. Stay uplifted, beloveds. Be extremely wise. Be extremely wise. I mean, it's really big decisions that are being made right now. If you need to relocate, I know women, our mothers were so wise, beloveds. They'd be like, okay, I'm going on a short holiday. And they'd never come back, to the village or wherever. So you have to be as wise as a serpent, but as innocent looking as a dove. Because these are perilous times, beloveds. Anyway, let me know what you think about that. I hope that covered the majority, the most urgent relationship questions that I've been getting. If you'd like me to cover anything else centering around relationship, as I said, it's a channel. But if there's anything else that's really weighing heavily on your heart, you can leave it in the comments below or email me, Dr. Mumbi at drmumbishow.com. Tuko pamoja.